this administration, our allegiance will be to the American workers and to American businesses like Harley-Davidson. And we're very strong. In the 1980s, and I remember this, you were victims of trading abuse, big trading abuse, where they were dumping all sorts of competitors all over the place. And Ronald Reagan stepped in, and he put on large tariffs. And you wouldn't be talking about Harley-Davidson probably right now if he didn't do that.
President Trump reminding everyone that even the Gipper used tariffs to protect American jobs. Trump, along with his Commerce Secretary nominee, Wilbur Ross, met with Harley-Davidson executives and union officials alike. Of course, it's been a common theme in the Trump White House, assuring them of things from taxes to tariffs to trade, anything that ultimately will put American workers first. Here to discuss is Byron York. Byron, thanks for joining me. You know, what I thought was fascinating, well, it felt like this was a two-pronged meeting. You tell me if what you think. That on one hand, this sort of romance with unions, blue-collar workers, folks who always voted Democrat, even ahead of corporations and corporate profits, and another chance to reiterate that perhaps tariffs do work from time to time.
Well, there were a lot of things going on. One, you're absolutely right. Talk about tariffs, because that's what the president talked about in the campaign quite a bit. And his whole first 2 weeks have been about, I'm going to keep my promises. If I talked about it in the campaign, I'm going to actually do it as president. Second, the presence of the union leaders is really important. We saw that in Donald Trump's very first business meeting, or meeting with business leaders in the White House in his first week. He was important. He was careful to meet with business leaders in the morning, meet with labor leaders in the afternoon. And it doesn't hurt that Harley-Davidson is in Milwaukee, in Wisconsin, being the Rust Belt state that people didn't think Donald Trump would win. In fact, he won Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. This is a very, very important constituency to him. So you put all those together, and he's happy to be meeting with Harley executives today. And
by the way, the closed door portion of it, I guarantee what came up is the fact that Harley has been using more and more of that cheap Chinese steel. I think that probably came up, and with Wilbur Ross sitting there, Wilbur Ross, he wants even more sanctions, immediate sanctions against Chinese steel.
Yes, there's that, and there's controversy about the IT departments that Harley has been using, like a whole lot of other companies with making use of H-1B visas. But the big thing about Harley is it's a particularly important thing. Not only was Harley essentially saved by Ronald Reagan, it was saved by an actual tariff. It was 1983. Japanese manufacturers were trying to kill Harley-Davidson, flooding the American market with heavy motorcycles to compete with Harley-Davidson. Harley-Davidson, Donald Trump is right, they were definitely going under. Right. It was the tariffs plus a lot of reworking on the part of Harley-Davidson at the time that saved the company.
Yeah, in '87, they actually went to the government and said, okay, we've recapitalized,
That's
you
correct.
saved us, we're ready to roll, you can remove the tariffs. That would be neat if the government has instituted them and the companies let us know when the playing field was level again. You know, you were tweeting some great stuff today about this dust up with Malcolm Turnbull of Australia. Yeah. And of course, there's a whole lot of scuttlebutt about whether or not how the phone call ended, but just the idea that he was going to dump 1,250 so-called boat people, refugees, mostly from Iran, onto this new administration. He had something of a comeuppance, didn't he?
Well, it did turn out to be that way. The first we heard of this meeting, there was a lot of reporting, oh my goodness, how could Donald Trump be rude to one of our best allies? And we should say Australia is one of our best allies, has been with the United States on many, many things. But there is this point of contention. Australia is not very hospitable to refugees, and there had been a number that they had accepted and wanted to get rid of, basically. And there was an agreement between Turnbull, the Prime Minister, and President Obama in November after the election, when they already knew there'd be a different president. And President Obama, then president, agreed to take these refugees in a deal that I think anybody could have said Donald Trump would not like.
Right.
So I think that subject came up in a big way in their conversation.
All right, Byron York, thank you. We'll see you a little bit later in the show.
Thank you, Charles.
Appreciate it.